Exactly. As before we do get into this, check your mic boost settings because you are coming off a little bit peaking when it comes to the audio. But here we go. We're getting
as it should be.
as we're getting into our first semifinals, and here we go in the top right hand corner of Alkione. We have the red Zerg player representing Dragon Kai Gaming. It is Dark.
And swatting over here in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, swatting all the way in the bottom left, representing Matcherino Esports, coming down from the land of Korea. We, of course, have not Dream, but NightMare.
You're sounding much better. Thank you. Smooth, Poppy, smooth. And oh boy, yeah, it's been a pretty intense week, and Yaku, it's good to have you back, Poppy. It's good to have you back. You're able to cast more StarCraft. Let's go. Oh my god.
I am. And speaking of, I'm glad I jumped in.
Now, this is not StarCraft.
Yeah. This is not StarCraft. This is Dark's. I don't know how to describe it.
His wet dream, his wet nightmare. Is that what?
Exactly.
Oh god.
It's his journey to just completely smack down every Protoss player.
I thought that you could have taken that in a couple of different ways. I thought you were going to say like his journey to enlightenment. You know, he's seen the light, he's seen the Miyamika.
No. This isn't enlightenment. This is the exact opposite.
I see the downfall into the smudge, into just the non-stop 5-minute games, as we do have NightMare going to be scouting across the map. He did see, by the way, he has seen the hatchery, and we should bring it back a little bit here. This is not normal. This is the first time I don't know about yourself, Yaku. This is the first time I have seen a hatchery goal base being taken like this on Alkione.
Yeah, on the side that doesn't have the gas on it.
Yeah. Exactly. And NightMare, he did go for a 2-gate opener. Okay, he went for a 2-gate response, so he's going to be making 2 adepts at a time. His goal here is to punish this, and we'll see if Dark can get away with getting into this gold. It is very out in the open, very exposed, going to be very difficult to defend.
Very much so, which is why already we see Dark throwing down the Spine Crawler, going for a full-on Ling Flood, because this is kind of a gasless build. He's completely pulled out of gas after researching metabolic boost. He wants to do nothing but Ling Flood from this point forward.
Oh, exactly. It's an all-in from Dark. Like, we're not going into a macro game taking this base of all things. Like, that's not going to happen. I appreciate that we're working through these rocks as well, just in case NightMare were to get onto the other side to try to punish this from the other side of the wall. As the adepts, they continue to threaten those shades back behind this. We have 4 adepts, soon to be 6 adepts. That's going to be a lot of adepts to work with here. Dark, this is not going to be easy, but I like that he's rising to the challenge here as the adepts do get onto the other side.
Yeah, Dark's fully committed to this. You'll love to see it. Now, the Spine Crawler not quite borrowed entirely, so these drones are still in a lot of trouble. Dark forced to pull away as the adepts will be chased back by the Queen, thankfully for Dark. No, this wall is not a wall.
It's not a wall, Papa. We're going for the pylon. We will depower the wall. The adepts, they do come out just in time. Thankfully here for NightMare. At the same time, he tries to push his way in, but no, the Spine Crawler is in position. Lings are getting into the main, but not too many of them.
Yeah, just coming in to take a quick little gander of what's going on. A couple of probes will go down, but yeah, these Lings shouldn't be accomplishing too much. It's a follow-up from Dark that I'm really worried about, because I don't think it can really be understated. NightMare has 0 production at the moment.
Oh, he does. He's just now repowering because of that pylon going down as well. No warp gate. Warp gate is heavily dead. We have to we're playing like a Terran player right now. We have to manually make units here out of these gateways. Oh god.
The worst fate.
Behind this, we're going for a Twilight Council, which makes sense to be aggressive. When it comes to Dark, I'm curious. He was droning up for a little bit, and I was very curious what the follow-up was going to be. He's still squeezing out a couple of workers, but that is a Roach Warren.
Indeed, it is. Follow-up that kind of makes sense here for Dark if we are planning to stay on Hatch Tech for the time being. There are a couple of Zerg players who do like to transition into more of a Bane bust from here, but it does take a little longer to really be effective. I mean, you do need that layer for Bane speed.
Yeah, exactly. And Dark, he's, you know, as you said before, he's a bit of a roach boy. You know, he is one with his roaches, as the Overlord is going into the main base, confirming the Twilight Council, confirming the gateways. It's going to be 4 gate Blink Stalkers out of NightMare. And Lingbane would have had a bit of a harder time against pure Blink Stalker as well, so good choice here out of Dark. He's actually fanning out his units, just making sure that there is no ninja base taken from NightMare.
Naturally, yeah. If you are a player who goes for ninja bases, your instinct is to always assume that your opponents are going to go for ninja bases as well. But it would also kind of make sense here for NightMare.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
You know, it's one way he's behind, not just in the base count, but one of Dark's bases is a gold base. So, yeah, sneaking out a cheeky third towards the north or the south would be a way for NightMare to catch back up.
If this game goes on any longer, do you think Dark would take this gas and start like long distance mining from the gas geyser as well, or does he throw down the hatchery on the other side to actually mine efficiently from it?
I think he'd throw down a hatch. I think he would throw down that hatch.
Yeah, I can see that happening as well.
He's just that boy. Yeah.
If we go that far. For now, though, Dark, he's not droning. He's droning up to 41, yes, but he's cutting workers. And now we have roaches, we have Ravagers and Lings on the way. The goal here, the Ravagers will be knocking down that wall, and the Lings are going to be flooding on in from there. NightMare trying to take a third base behind this is going to be exposing himself a little bit further, and we need shield batteries if we want to try to hold on. And there they are.
Just about being thrown down. Couple of sentries as well, just help with force fields and potentially Guardian Shell if there's enough energy to left over to help out then.
Oh, exactly, and this is going to be a very tight hold here for NightMare. I mean, the shield batteries, it looks like they might finish just in time. It's going to be very close. Nexus is still on the way, which means there's no overcharge. No overcharge is available. Force fields are thrown down, but we have the Biles.
And the Biles do land. A couple more force fields are ready, but yeah, they don't last too much longer either. That's a lot of Ravagers from Dark, which means that's a lot of Corrosive Biles. Nex is still not done yet, and all of these shield batteries are completely out of energy. I don't see NightMare holding from
exactly. We have the overcharge towards the end, but the shield battery does go down. We barely have any units remaining. We have 2 Stalkers left here at the natural with 1 shield battery. GG gets called, and Dark takes game number 1.
So dirty.
Oh my god, Dark, he's having fun today. Did you see his series against Stats? Did you shoot into that?
I caught a little bit of that. I caught a proxy hatchery right into Stats' wall.
Yep.
Yep.
What more to say? You know, it's one of those things where Dark sometimes when he wakes up, he just chooses
violence.
Yes, it's choose violence, but also it's like, you know, enjoy it as well, right? Like
yeah, you gotta savor it.
He does. Oh my god. So yeah, just Dark having a bit of fun there, causing some chaos. NightMare attempted to punish the goal base but couldn't, right? He invested so heavily into those adepts, and if you remember, we would pan over to them time and time again. The adepts were just constantly getting surrounded, and they never really killed any workers.
Yeah. Just a little bit of unfortunate mistiming there from NightMare, I think. A couple of times where he had very slim opportunities where he could kind of punish those drones by the gold base, but then a second later the spine crawler would burrow, a second later the queen would pop up, and yeah, the most surprising thing, of course, is the fact that he did leave his wall vulnerable for a little while, which just allowed Dark to completely delay everything, cut off his production, cut off warp gate, and it was going to be uphill from there from NightMare, but yeah, those Ravagers really were the final nail in the coffin.
100%, and now we're getting into game number 2, and we'll see what our Zerg player has in store for us this time, because spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Oceanborn, we have the South Korean Zerg player representing DragonKy Gaming. It is Dark.
And starting over here in the top left-hand corner map, starting all the way in the top left, we have our blue Protoss player coming out from the land of Korea, representing Macherino Esports, not Mafarino. We have NightMare.
I'm glad you cleared that up. I know that some people get confused sometimes, so I appreciate it.
Yep.
As we do see Dark moving out with his first drone, does have a second drone here waiting for this probe to leave, essentially. That's the goal here for Dark, is that if this probe ever does move out of position, Dark can take the expansion, but no, he sees that The probe refuses to leave, and Dark is going to have to expand elsewhere. Oh.
Where elsewhere, though, is going to be the question. Because that drone is on a journey.
You know, I like to think that in Dark's mind, he's like rationalizing this. He's like, you know what? You forced me to do this. You stopped my expansion. Yeah. Like, what else am I meant to do?
Look what you made me do.
I had no other choice.
And boom goes the proxy hatch right on top of NightMare's face. Just an eye for an eye. If you will, you delay my hatch, I'm going to delay your Nexus.
Yeah, there you go. So Dark did still go for a hatch fast before gas and spawning pool. So this isn't a rush. As you mentioned, this is just designed to force some economic damage, force workers off the mineral line, and delay the expansion of the Protoss for as long as possible.
Yeah, forces a Zealot out as well, which is not the most efficient unit that you want to be getting this early on in a PvC.
Yeah, exactly. So just wasting more resources. Behind this, we could even try to go for an Evo chamber block as well. We could cancel, go into the main base, and we do barely escape with that drone. No Evo chamber, but we will double back.
He wants it. He was thinking it. He was dancing back.
Yeah. Oh my god. Again, just being as annoying as possible. Behind this, it's going to take a little bit longer to get into our gas geyser and into our spawning pool. So Dark, you know, this did cost him a little bit, but for the most part, he's safe and sound. And NightMare this time going for a standard transition.
I just like that he's still keeping the drone there. Like, what am I going to do? You don't know, NightMare.
I could throw down another proxy hatch. You don't know. True. But finally it does get shut down, and there we go. There's that Stargate on the way. Should be 4 oracles here, but we'll see if NightMare wants to try to spice things up. Again, he is down in this series. Like, he needs to do something here to fight back, to try to counteract Dark.
Yeah, Stargate, very safe unit to building to do that. You can get your Void Race to defend, you can get your Oracles to go across the map and harass, and that is exactly what NightMare is doing at the moment. Still trying to distract Dark as much as he can with this Adept, but again, this Adept is just a scouting unit. It is just a bit of a distraction for the Oracles to come in.
Oh, exactly, as the Oracles are on the way. Looking at the vision of Dark, he did dip in earlier. He did get eyes on the Stargate. He saw the first Oracle coming out as well, so Dark is aware of what is coming across the map, and we're already getting ready for it. We have Queens on the way, Spore Crawlers, 2 Queens here at the Natural. We have 1 Queen, soon to be 2 in the main, and Dark is very well set up here to receive these Oracles.
Yeah. Not quite a bridge of creep between the 3rd and Natural base, but the Queens should be able to get there in time anyway.
They do get here in time. They do kill a larva, and they chip away at one of those eggs. So yeah, they're getting some damage done. It's something at least. Meanwhile, Lings are going to be threatening a counterattack, but the second Oracle has stayed back at home, which means NightMare should be safe and sound. This 3rd base should be able to get up and running.
Yeah, very wise for NightMare to keep that Oracle back at home. Dark just chipping around. Chipping? No.
Chirping?
What's the word I'm using? Prodding around, trying to see what he can get done, and the answer is nothing. So, yeah, decides to go back home, drone up, get his Evo chambers, and for the first time, I think we're actually going to get a mid game out of Dark.
Yeah, it's like I could hear like the uncertainty in your voice. You're like, are we though? But we should. NightMare behind this though, that's a Twilight Council, and I don't see a Forge. This could be a Glaive Adept follow-up here. It's looking like a Glaive Adept follow-up here from NightMare, so he wants to be the aggressor, but there it is. There is a Forge. It is a delayed Forge, but a Forge nonetheless, so we should be calming down and working on that next step, as you mentioned.
Yeah, delayed Forge is usually better than a delayed Glaive timing.
Definitely, as 1 Oracle gets picked off here. 1 Oracle for 1 Queen. Not the worst trade here for NightMare as he threatens a Shade towards that Natural base. We commit to the Shade even, but the Lings, they're already on top of them.
Yeah, there were already a handful of Lings that were able to pick them off, and then the reinforcements are really just gonna kill them, essentially. Essentially? No, literally. They are dead.
They do shut them down. The Oracles, they try to find a way in, but Dark, his economy has been left untouched for the most part, and now we're getting to the swing of things. We have the Roach Warren on the way, +1 melee as well, getting a 4th hatchery, and even threatening a counterattack. A very important scout as well. We do get eyes on the reinforcing Stalkers, not Adepts or Zealots or anything like that.
Yeah, huge tell here for Dark, obviously. He'll be able to put 2 and 2 together, kind of figure out that we are going to see somewhat of a repeat of game number 1, Blink Stalkers and Sentries versus Roaches and Ravagers. One very big difference this time for NightMare, though, is that, well, aside from the Stargate opening, he is investing into a robo facility.
Oh, yeah, we do have that robo on the way for NightMare, and that can, of course, gain access to Colossi, for example, if he wants to turtle on up. Lings, for the time being, they're just keeping NightMare pinned back at home on his 3 bases, and Dark, he is so quick to tech. Infestation bid is on the way. We've seen this a lot in Dark ZvPs. If he ever does catch a whiff that you're being more defensive and that you're turtling up back at home as a Protoss player, then Dark is so willing to start working towards a fast hive and fast lunkers.
Oh, yeah. That's been his thing for a while, really.
Well,
which, of course, is the logical evolution from Roaches. Huge surround here on top of these Stalkers, but the Oracles should be able to chase these Lings back. NightMare taking a couple of losses, but he's still alive.
Yeah, he is still alive, and like I don't know how Dark does it, but like again, he was able to take note of like the gases, the saturation, the posturing of NightMare. We can see NightMare going double robo into Colossus production. He's being very tech heavy, as we mentioned, and this is exactly the scenario where as a Zerg player you want to be teching as well. That's why the hive is already on the way for Dark. And soon I imagine he could go into, I was saying lurkers earlier, but with +2 melee, he could even go into ultras if he wanted to.
Yeah, he tends to be a bit of an ultra boy. Dark's ultras are a little bit... They're built different somehow. They're always a bit more effective. Blink is done, but I guess it is on cooldown, so yeah, once again, Dark trading Lings for Stalkers, which is almost always a favorable trade for the Zerg player.
Definitely. I thought you were gonna say something like, you know, they may have nerfed the Ultra, made it smaller for everyone else, but Dark's Ultra, it's big, papi. It's
oh yeah.
Aye. But here we go. Bailey's are being
very
morphed in.
Proud of his Ultra.
He is, and Dark, he's going right for the surround as well, trying to catch these Stalkers, and we may have a hive, but Dark, he's looking to end the game here, and now looking to just crash into that third.
Yeah, we don't even have Baneling speed behind you. But these Banelings are gonna not quite connect just yet, so there we go. Very timely force fields from NightMare will once again keep him alive, will allow him to chase back this force of Roaches and... I was gonna say Roaches and Ravagers, but there are no Ravagers, surprisingly. Just Roaches and a couple of Banelings. Now, a bunch of Lings are coming to reinforce this, but do you really want Lings in this position when... you know, the Protoss player will be able to make use of choke points, will have force fields available to them.
Exactly, and again, those force fields, they were so clutch there from NightMare, keeping his mineral line alive, and there it is, he is making those 2 Colossi at a time. Meanwhile, Dark hasn't teched up. He has the hive, he's going up to Adrenal, but he's still sticking with Lingbane Roach Ravager. A very bold move from Dark, but he wants to go for it, he wants to go for the kill once again.
Yeah, he's gonna try, but he's gonna have a much tougher time now that the Colossus are actually out.
Yeah, speaking of, he's getting on top of the one Colossus. He's going to full good target firing here from Dark, but the second Colossus will stand strong. Baileys, they roll in once again. They want to get into the middle line, but the positioning here, they do not get in.
Yeah, they soften up a couple of these Stalkers, but unfortunately for Dark, there really wasn't enough left over to really clean them out.
Yeah, fun fact, by the way, as the Bailings were trying and struggling to get into the mineral line, they almost killed the Nexus. They almost killed the base itself, which may have been worth it in the end. I'm not too sure, but NightMare is pushing right through the center here. He knows he has momentum. He was able to just barely clean up an army of Dark, but Dark has reinforcements coming in. Queens as well.
Yeah, once again, going for a full surround. Huge stasis ward will be catching about half of Dark's Lings and preventing that full on surround. The Colossus is so low, Dark wants it so bad, and he will be able to get it. Banelings will crash on top of a bunch of other Stalkers as well, just as the Lings come off of stasis.
Exactly. We clean up the army. That's all that NightMare had left. He still has the economy on 3 bases. He's fully walled off. The probes, they just wouldn't mind, but they're stuck in the main base, and GG is going to get called. Doesn't give Dark the satisfaction to kill his 3rd base, and Dark will take it 2-0.
GG.
GG, well played. Again, a powerful performance here from Dark, taking the 2-0. As you mentioned, though, we were able to kind of sink our teeth into it a little bit more. We were able to...
We kind of got a mid-game. Kind of.
Kind of, yeah.
I mean, we got a Hive.
We did get three-way saturation. Which is, you know, more than we can otherwise say. And oh boy, with that, Dark advances on to the grand finals, where he's going to be lying in wait, waiting for his next opponent, as we have our second semifinals, and yo, we have a fresh series.
Ooh, we do have a fresh series, and I'm not sure if we should be glad or if we should be disappointed, but our grand finals will not be a ZvP.
We won't
It will in fact be a ZvT, because between Dark and either Oliveira or Cure.
Ooh, here we go. So, yeah, as you were kind of saying, unfortunately, you know, we won't have another chaotic crown fiesta of a ZvP that we've been enjoying from Dark. Or maybe it's a good thing, I don't know. Depending on what you want, you know.